Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I want to sit down with you guys and do a full face of all the makeup items that I put in my chopping block. I'm going to link a video up above where I did my most recent makeup declutter, and in that video I picked a lot of items that I wasn't sure about, haven't tested in a while, knew that I was on the fence about, and then I put into a shopping block. I also picked some items for project panning, and I'm going to go over those in a separate video. I thought I would talk about them a little bit and maybe start like a project pan video on my channel to see how far I can get by the end of the year. That's something I've never done, so if you're interested in that, please stay tuned. If you're not currently subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe, but let's get into my chopping block items. Okay, here's everything. It is a full face. I have literally everything for a full face, and then I have a couple of blushes and a couple of lip products. And I feel like I definitely want to try all of the lip products because those I could easily take off. But there are several blushes, and 2 bronzers are easy because I can put those on either side of the cheeks. So the first one that I want to try on is the brow pencil. It's from Catrice. It's called the Clean ID eyebrow pencil. And the reason that I want to put this in the chopping block is because it's one of those sharpenable kinds, and that's usually not a pencil that I like. I usually prefer microfine retractable brow pencil. And this one, when I used it the first time, because I did a full face of Catrice just testing a bunch of their stuff, I felt like it just more filled in my brows than it really, like, I don't know, did what I like, which is kind of outline them. This one is in the shade 020 light brown. These are waterproof, vegan. You know, I usually love a waterproof brow pencil. I have to give this a shot since I tested it and then put it in a speed reviews. I haven't touched it since then. And eyebrow pencils are usually, I want to use them up. I hate wasting brow pencils, but I will declutter them if I don't like them. If they're not working for me, I get rid of them. All the ones that I keep in my collection, I always want to use up. I don't know why I'm like that with brow pencils. It's not a dry formula, like it's creamy. And I like the shade, I just don't know if I like the pencil. So let's try this out again. It just feels like it deposits so much more product than I would like. And even though it's a light brown, it is light brown, right? Light brown. Look how much darker it comes out. Honestly, it kind of feels like wetter than a brow dip, like a dip brow or something like that. It's just much more emollient of a formula. See, I don't know if I love it. And because it's so creamy, it looks so much darker on my brows. You know, I sharpened this before I started this video because I hate sharpening pencils. Lip pencils, brow, I just hate sharpening. I don't know why I'm like that, I just am. And I already feel like it's super dull. Just because it is so creamy, it's already like basically flat. It makes my brows feel heavy too. I'm saying a lot of negative things about it, so I kind of feel like I'm focusing on those things, and that means that it shouldn't stay. Okay, because I always draw out my wings a lot, and it says it's waterproof, I want to really see if it like doesn't transfer. It was pretty good. That's not too bad. I don't know. It wasn't bad to apply it. The brows are heavy though. Something like this I feel like would last me forever because you could probably sharpen it down to a straight nub. But then also, I feel like I would have to sharpen it after every single use. I mean, I made it to a good point, and basically it looks like it kind of needs to be sharpened again. I don't know. I don't know if I need this in my life. You know, the thing with brow pencils and me, and I started to say this, is like, I don't know why I feel absolutely guilty about using up a brow pencil. They're so inexpensive. I'm not sure why I feel so guilty about them. It is just the way that I feel. Like, I feel like if they work for me at all, I feel obligated to just use them up because it's such a trivial thing, as opposed to like a blush that has like a lot of product in it and might take you years to use up. This one would only take me a little bit if I consistently used it. I just need to sit on this for a minute. I need to decide whether or not this is something I want to keep around. I know that it's a silly thing, but I'm so on the fence about it. That's why these items are in the chopping block. I usually have a really hard time with chopping block items, but I was really trying to be serious with myself when I was doing this last declutter. So let's let this sit. We're gonna do a check-in at the final and like at the end of the night, just so I can see. So I actually had 5 blushes that I kind of put on the chopping block here. So let's put 2 of them on now, and then we'll take them off, and then 2 of them we'll put on at the end. So this one is not a formula thing. This one is the Double Take Blush Skin Perfecting Blush Duo in Fair Lady by Oma Beauty. This was more kind of a shade thing for me. I didn't like this shade on its own, and this shade right here was nice if I mixed both of these together. And overall, I wasn't really wowed with the formula. It wasn't a formula that just made me instantly fall in love, and I kind of feel like I want to be in love with the blush if I'm going to keep it in my collection. So I'm going to swirl both of these together. Why does it already look patchy to me? Oh, all right, I'm looking back in the viewfinder. Like, why does it look patchy right there? I kind of like it swirled together a lot more than what I was doing, which was putting this down first and then putting this on top. I don't know, something about that just didn't look great. I wasn't overly wowed. I think this is a lot prettier, but here's what I don't like about this. This shimmery side emphasizes so much of my texture right here. It really matters where you lay down that shimmer. There's just so many things just not necessary about this product. I feel like you could have just made a shade that had, I don't know. There's just something not perfect about it. This is emphasizing so much texture on my cheeks now that I'm looking at it. Like, it's almost like too shimmery, too metallic. And then I just don't like this shade on its own. Yeah, this is pretty easy for me. I have blushes that I love. This one's gonna go because it's a fairly new release and Oma keeps dropping things. I'm gonna keep this in my library. This is automatically gonna go into my closet. I'm falling in love with it. I have hundreds of blushes. I don't need to force myself to keep this. So I just need to be realistic. I am going to move that to the library of items. And some of these I will move to the library of items and I'll move out of my permanent collection. And then there actually may be some that I may fully declutter. So let me go into the next one, which might shock you guys, but I think again, it's a shade thing. This one is from Kier Weiss. This is one of the cream blushes and I cannot remember what this shade is. I have a pin, but it's too big. So I don't think I have anything small enough to pop this out. So I'm not gonna be able to tell you guys what shade it is. If I'm able to find it, I'll link it in the description box. This is a shade thing for me. It's not a formula, but I can tell you that Kier Weiss does have some matte versions and then some shimmer versions in the blush. And this happens to be one of the shimmer ones. And so because it's kind of shimmery, once I blend this into the cheeks, it ends up casting like gray a little bit, and that has been kind of my problem. For this application, I'm gonna pick it up on the back of a sponge. See, I don't know. This is better. This is a way better application than a brush for me because the brush was causing it to lose so much pigment. But this is, again, a shimmery formula that is emphasizing a lot of this texture. You can see it on the viewfinder, just how kind of metallic it looks on this cheek. And then I have trouble finding the pigment. Like, okay, I'm looking one way, and doesn't it look a little bit gray until I turn? And then it almost looks like I'm wearing kind of an off-colored highlighter. This is definitely a shade. This is definitely a shade thing because I really like the formula. It's very emollient, but this is like totally dried down. And the sheen is really pretty. I like the sheen. I think it's the shade underneath. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get another Kier Weiss one that isn't in the shimmer formula. I'm just gonna pick it up. I'm gonna take this compact out, probably put it in a removable like case so that I can keep the cream formula preserved because this is not a very old product. And then I'm going to put it in my library of items and I'm gonna swap this out because this shade just isn't flattering for me. I can't help but see all of the texture, how kind of gray it looks. I'm struggling with this, you guys. That is what I'm gonna do with these, but I wanna hear from you guys in the comments what you think I should do with it, how you think it looks on my cheeks, because I'm gonna need some help. I think I'm gonna get one of the Kier Weiss ones that doesn't have like the shimmery formula because the formula is so good. It's just not a shade that I like. The other two blushes, if you guys saw that video, are my two ColourPop Super Shock cheeks, and I have one in the pearlized finish that's in No Way, and then I have one that's in between the sheets that is the matte version. It was never a formula thing for me. It was always just super difficult for me to get the product like out of here. I have had you guys like recommend different ways to apply this. I still struggle, but also the pearlized one was just overly curly. It emphasized so much texture on my cheeks. I'm going in with basically like a stippling brush now, and I'm going to try and apply this because it's so dense with this brush, and I don't know what my problem is. Maybe it's just because it looks so deep in the pan and I expect it to be so pigmented right away. And I feel like it's not necessarily, like I definitely feel like I have to build this up. This is another one that I just feel like emphasizes my texture. I want to fall in love with these formulas. This one actually emphasizes my texture just a lot less than the other two that I just tried on. At least that's the way that it looks to me. I'm gonna try for another fairly dense brush, and I'm going into the Between the Sheets matte one. I really feel like you're, you know, kind of abusing this product. Hello, you guys. I'm really digging. These they're not super easy to get with a brush. The amount of work that I was putting into making this the kind of pigment that I like, or even especially feel like you should get out of this product, it was too much work. It's not my cup of tea. This one also feels like really dry too, which is so sad because I've had this for about 3 months. I picked this up at Target. But yeah, it feels kind of on the dry side. Its swatch is nice. Here it is. It just feels like it's drying out. I don't know if that's the case, but that's kind of the way that it looks to me. I'm gonna declutter this one because I feel like it is definitely on the dry side. I think I'm just gonna trash it. All right, the next thing that I wanna go into is a primer. So this is the Tula Filter Primer. It's blurring and moisturizing. I guess it's in the shade Luna, which is for fair to light skin tones. I have not used that this much. It looks like I have, but I really haven't. The reason that I haven't reached for this and the reason that I put it in my chopping block is because I remember this pilling up on my skin and not being like very smooth. It has like beads in it, and it's like slightly tinted. It's really hard to see. I mean, the beads you might be able to see, but it definitely has like some tint to it. It almost kind of like, I don't know, like turns like a shade. It's supposed to have probiotics and superfoods. It almost turns like tan. So it definitely has a shade to it. I don't know if you can see it now. Yeah, prime, blur, and even out with Luna. Instantly smooth the look of uneven skin tone and hydrate for a glowy filter-like finish. Comes out like this off-white color, and then it turns like tannish, or, you know, I don't know, some shade when you start rubbing in the pigment. And I just remember it meshing terribly, I don't know, just on my skin normally, but then also like pilling up when I was putting foundation on top of it. So it looks smoothing. I'm gonna give it that. Like once I rub it in, I hope that it was more of a foundation thing. Whatever foundations I was pairing it with were the problem, because I'm liking the way that this is looking on the skin right now. Because I feel like that did even out my skin tone slightly, and it adds like a little bit of coverage, and I feel like that did blur even. It's almost like staining. It's a really weird product. Like it has pink pigments in it, or like tan pigments. I don't know. You can't see them until you start like rubbing it in. I want to let this just sit here for a while and like sink into my skin so I don't mess it up with the foundation. I did throw on a couple of things in my eyes I forgot to mention. So just to get a little bit more use out of the ColourPop, I threw the matte like kind of in the crease, and then I grabbed my Cosmic Pearl Dewy eyeshadow in Luna from M Cosmetics. While this is drying down, before I go into the foundation, I want to start putting on the lip products and see which ones I like. So they're pretty much all the same shade. This is the Le Monster Lip Crayon. This one is in Mauve Matte from House Labs. I remember this being so dry on my lips. And there's no real way for me to test this other than to try it on and leave it there. I just watched another short with Lady Gaga where she was like, our matte formula, but it's not drying. See my top lip? How creased and wrinkled it is? It's pretty drying. Like there's some really, look at this. It's so, see, it's so dry on my lips. Like I don't even notice that I have all these lines normally. I don't hate this formula. The thing is, with products like these, I feel like I have to top them with a gloss. And then even then, the gloss has to be the kind of gloss that like fills in my lips and like smooths it out, because this has just emphasized my lip lines so much. And I don't know, I don't love that. But I have good matte formulas in my collection that don't do this to my lips. And so for that reason, I don't know why I need to keep something like this. The shade is beautiful. It's great. It's just, look at this. Look at how cracked my lips look. Yeah, this is already, I'm going to tell you guys, this is going to go in the closet. I'm going to keep my House Lab stuff, but I'm not going to reach for that again. The longer it sits here, the worse it looks. So, okay, the next one that I want to go into is the NYX Lingerie XXL. I feel like this is also a matte shade. It's called XX, it's like Expose Me, XXPOSE. Their matte liquid lipstick. I also remember this being super drying as well. Like, it doesn't start off like that. It has a very emollient, creamy finish. It smells like vanilla. It's very pleasant. See, it's very, very smooth and emollient. But then when it starts to dry down, dries out my lips. So let's give this a second too. All right, while this one is drying down, I'm gonna go into the mascara that I pulled out. I might as well, it's not gonna mesh with my foundation because I'm not gonna put it on my lower lash line. This was from Fenty Beauty. This was the Hella Thick mascara. I will tell you guys, I have tried this recently. So after I pulled it out for my chopping block, I ended up reaching for this one morning while I was getting ready, and I love it. I haven't reached for this since I tested it, so it's had time to dry out. And I was like, oh my gosh, why did I hate this? I actually really liked it. It's not a super clean formula or a clean lash. It's kind of chunky, which is why I wanted to put it in the chopping block to begin with. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it as much as I did. I don't think it's as chunky as it was the first time or the first couple of times that I tried it. I don't know, something about it was really, really pretty. Like, it lasted all day. It's really pigmented. It just, I don't know, you can see every single one of my lashes. Like, it just looked really dark and pronounced. So I don't know, I was enjoying this, but I wanted to test it again. So that's why we're doing it. It is such a wet formula. And I usually don't like these kind of natural bristled wands. They're just not my preferred style. I mean, it is messy, like, don't get me wrong. I'm wiping off the wand a ton. And it's definitely giving chunk. But I feel like I can get over it for how pigmented it is. All right, that wasn't like super clean. I definitely made a little bit of a mess. Okay. It's just so pigmented, you guys, that it's hard to discount it. Even though it's chunky, it still like makes my lashes pop. It is chunky. I'm gonna hold on to this one though. I like it more now than when I first tried it. Yes, it's a little bit chunky, but sometimes that's cool. Like, sometimes I like that. It's just, I feel like so pigmented and wet of a formula that it's just my kind of wet and pigmented. All right, let's get back to this lip product. See, you have to top this. Like, it starts really good. I mean, it definitely goes down to like a powder finish, and I can't leave this on its own. This would be something I'd have to top. I don't think it's as bad as the House Labs because, I don't know, I feel like it kind of has like, I don't know, it's smoother, more of a silicone-y texture to it, but it's still dry. And yeah, so this one I'm gonna totally declutter. There's no reason for me to hold on to this. I won't reach for it. I have other formulas that I know perform similarly that don't need to be topped, that are still like super beautiful and line smoothing. Let's go into the last lip products, because if I end up having to scrub that hard, I'm gonna end up taking the foundation off. So this is from REM Beauty. This is her liquid lipstick in Leave a Message. All of these like liquid lipsticks, I just feel like I'm kind of unsure about, because they're on the drier side. So, oh, that's the wrong shade. Shades like this make me look like I no longer have lips. Has a vanilla scent to it, and it's really comfortable when it goes on. So let's see what it looks like when it dries down, because it's a terrible shade for me, so it's not something that I can reach for all the time. It's not as bad as the NYX, but it's kind of sticky. See, it's definitely drying. It would be something that I have to top. It's not as like cracky though as the House Labs one. It's just a bad shade. So this is gonna go into the library of items. So let's go into the foundation that I have. I did not put this in my chopping block in my video. This was one that I pulled out later because I looked at my foundations again and I thought, I really need to go through my foundation. So this is the Ritual Defy 3-drop serum weightless foundation. This one is really oily of a texture, but 3 drops is too much for my whole complexion. So you take it and you press the bottom and then the drops come out, and I usually do like 1 and, well, I kind of gotta do 2, don't I? Well, we'll just do 1.5 drops. Literally this will take me my whole complexion. So I kind of just dot it in a couple of places and it spreads out like all over my face. It travels really, really far. Let me take some of this and put it up here. Let me show you guys what I mean. You do not need hardly any. So the product itself will travel or last you forever. And when I tested this product, 3 drops was way too much. And even though it's a serum-like formula and has like what feels like a lot of oils in it, it was looking extra dry on my skin. Do you guys see how that tiny little bit went my whole complexion? It's kind of crazy. It really is. Basically medium coverage with 1.5 dots. That was all. That's all you need. But this is gonna have to be something that I let sit, and we'll come back at the end of the night to see how it looks, because right now it looks really good on my skin, but it starts to look a lot drier as the day goes on. I wanna go into a concealer. I didn't pull out a concealer in the video, but this one I just tested recently and I'm totally on the fence about. So far it's not worked for me. This is the new release from House Labs. This is in 04. This is her Triclone Skin Tech Concealer, and I tested it by building it up because it says it's a buildable formula, but it did not work building for me. So I'm gonna go in with even less than I applied last time, just about that much, and see how this holds up at the end of the evening with a pretty light single layer, because I didn't like it built up. It looked super dry on my under eyes and it creased so hard, especially on this left eye. It's pretty light coverage right away. It doesn't conceal a whole lot, like especially this eye where I have a little bit more darkness. Kind of a sticky, tacky formula. Not kind of, it is a sticky, tacky formula. It tugs a little bit on my skin when I use the brush, but so far I've preferred using the brush over anything else. So the foundation and concealer we'll set aside because these I'm not gonna know until we come back at the end of the night. So far they both look really good. Let's go into the setting powder. So I had grabbed this one out from Moira. This is one of their soft focus waterproof setting powders. I have mine in the shade 100. It already looks like it's hard panned, and I've used this maybe 4 or 5 times. The thing with this powder is I don't find that it's overly waterproof. I'm gonna take a powder brush to apply it. But I did use this when I used the Fenty again, and I did really like it. I think I applied it this way though. I used just a standard powder brush and I really enjoyed it. I have to set my T-zone. See, it's kind of pretty. It's not bad. I think when I was applying it with like one of those poofs, it was just a little bit too much and I didn't notice that it was waterproof at all. But waterproof aside, I'm really into powders like this, pressed powders, and so when I applied it with the brush, I think it looks really pretty. So again, base product, gonna go over here to look and check on at the end of the night. Now let's go into 2 bronzers. So the first one that I want to go into is from Buxom. This is the Staycation Vibes Primer Infused Bronzer in Rooftop Tan. The reason that I thought about decluttering this was because it's a little bit of a warmer tone than I like. It's kind of two-toned almost, but see how pretty warm it is. It's just kind of on the orangey side. I'm going to take a pretty fluffy brush. This is brand new and clean. I haven't used it yet. It's just an EcoTools plush powder brush. I'm just going to really like swirl my brush in there because it's two-toned. Let's see. It's really pretty actually. For the cheeks though, for the cheeks. But we're going to throw her on the forehead as well. I'm just doing one side because I have another one that I want to use as a bronzer. It's so much product. This is so dense. I don't know, man. This is actually really pretty. Even though it's super warm, oh, it looks really nice. Let's go into the next one. This is from Guerlain. This is the Sunkissed Healthy Glow Powder, light and long lasting in 02 Natural Cool. And it's in Terracotta Light, or it's the Terracotta Light powder. I'm again gonna use a brand new, this is the large angled contour brush from Sigma. It's multi-toned, so you get some pink or rosy toned, light rosy toned pigments in there with some lighter browns and then some deeper browns. The thing is, it's kind of, I don't know what to do with it sort of powder. And it's really hard pressed in the pan. You really have to kind of dig in here to get it. It was more along the lines of like, how do I want to use this product? As a bronzer or as a blush? Because it's kind of right in the middle product. Like it's kind of warm toned. And so is it like, is it an orangey blush or is it a bronzer for me? See how orange that is once I built it up? I just don't think I would use this as a blush. Both of these are looking so pretty right now, so they've got me quite confused. Okay, I like it. It is really pretty. For that sun-kissed look, I don't even mind it on the forehead. In fact, both of these are beautiful. This is a little bit more, I want to say it has more, obviously, terracotta in it. And then this one has more brown. I think they're both soft and subtle and pretty. So both of these, they get to stay in my permanent collection. Sometimes you just gotta revisit. That's what you gotta do. Also, you guys, I'm gonna update you right now. This Tula is amazing. Like, it is not meshing with this foundation. It looks so smoothing on my skin. My skin looks incredibly smooth. So good. So good. I'm so glad I pulled this back out. I have hated this product for so long because every time I used it, it pilled up. And then everything I put on top of it looked terrible. So I am happy to report, look how smooth my skin looks. Okay, all right, these three, they get to stay. Let's throw back on this pearlized finish one from ColourPop because I'm just not convinced yet. And I'm gonna throw on like that much. See, this one is so much creamier than the dry ass matte formula that I was using. This one's older, by the way, like quite a bit older than the matte one. So Target, get your shit together. It could just be that the matte formula is just on the drier side, but the whole product looks really dry. I'm gonna test this one out one more time, kind of like stippled in with this brush and not applying too much. So, all right, she's gonna go with the complexion products. I know that I thought I was gonna put it in the closet, but let's put her in the complexion products in the maybe over there pile because we got some maybes going on. And now I want to go into two highlighters and then we are done. This one is actually not a highlighter. This is from Chantecaille. This is their Lotus Blossom Radiant Blush. But because it was so terribly pigmented for me and so light, I didn't like the way that it looked as a blush. It cast gray on my cheeks. Same thing as the one from Kjaer Weis. So I wanted to test this out as a highlighter. I had put it in my highlighter drawer and then once I said that, I never tested it again. So this is a pretty hard pressed formula. I don't know how this is gonna work. It is a highlighter, isn't it? Isn't this a highlighter? Look at that. How is that not a highlighter? I'm telling you guys, this is a terrible blush formula from Chantecaille. The thing is, I have a million highlighters. Will I reach for this as a highlighter? I don't know, it's pretty darn pretty. I think she gets to stay too. The final one is from Haus Labs. This is her old formula. This is the Chuchi Gel Powder Highlighter in Loose de Sol from her old line. But I didn't want to get rid of it because I had liked the formula so much. The thing is, and I'm just gonna clean this bad boy off, it's not a great shade for me. It was right when her line was closing, and so there was only, not closing necessarily, but all her stuff was going out of stock and selling out. So a lot of it was discounted, but this was the only shade that was really left. Actually, no, I take that back. This was part of the last collection that she launched right before she reformulated and went into Sephora. It's too dark. I don't like it. I'm gonna declutter this. I'm gonna pass this on to somebody else who doesn't care that this is a formula that is no longer even made or sold. And someone with a darker complexion than me. Like maybe my grandmother would really like this because she's darker complected and this doesn't work on me. I think it's too gold. I prefer something yellow. This one's just a little bit deep for my skin tone. I don't hate it though. I just have so many other ones, so this one's gonna go. So let's do a roundup of everything. All right, let's start with, as I'm just randomly picking these. So the Oma Beauty one, this for sure is gonna go in the closet of reference items. This matte blush from ColourPop, totally going to throw this away and declutter it. This setting powder from Moira, this is actually super beautiful and I love pressed powder, so this is gonna go back into the permanent collection, loving it. This from NYX, the XXL, I don't know, the lingerie XXL, whatever this thing is, this I'm going to fully declutter and give to somebody else. Maybe, I don't know, with younger lips than me or something. I'm trying to make my piles here. This one from REM Beauty, it's just a bad shade. I feel like I could get around the formula, but it's not a good shade for me, so I am going to like hold on to this because she's just had a sweetener foundation come out. If I ever want to like review that and do a full face of REM, I'm gonna hold on to it. So this one's gonna go into the closet. Haus Labs Le Monster Lip Crayon, it's gonna go into the closet. Again, just other matte formulas that I really enjoy. The Fenty mascara, I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm really enjoying this. I'm glad that I pulled this back out. Haus Labs Chuchi Gel Powder Highlighter. This is gonna go to somebody else. Both of these bronzers, this one from Guerlain and then this one from Buxom. I feel like these were some of my favorite products of today. So, and this one, I'm definitely gonna hold on to the Tula Filter Primer, Blurring and Moisturizing Primer. Guys, I don't know why I hated this and why it pilled up on my skin. Maybe it was meshing with like the moisturizer I had on a long time ago. It just didn't like that particular one. But this is so pretty. My complexion looks freaking amazing right now. The Cure Weiss, I can't get down with it. I'm gonna pop her out and I'm gonna put it in my library. The Chantecaille, the Lotus Blossom, good as a highlighter. She gets to stay as a highlighter. And here are the 4 products that we are going to come back to. I feel like I'm leaning on keeping everything. So the foundation right now with that 1.5 drops looks so beautiful on my skin. And it may be just because it's sitting on top of this like super smoothing primer, but like paired together, these are really, really nice. So far, it looks so fresh. So I'm enjoying that a lot more. This one, I feel like I do enjoy the shade. Like once I get all of my makeup on, I feel like I can get over the fact that I'm gonna have to sharpen it every single time. It definitely feels heavy. Like my eyebrows feel a little bit heavy, but I think I can get through it. I'm keeping this one just because it's an eyebrow pencil. Haus Labs concealer looks great with one coat. Guys, I just put up a video about this and I hated it built up. It was terrible built up, but just that tiny, tiny bit that I put on, it looks good. It's more light coverage though. So I'm leaning towards definitely giving it a better review. And this one also, now that I even said that I was gonna put it in my closet, I kind of feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like I really do like the way that it's looking with kind of that like lighter layer with a, I don't know, with a denser stippling brush. So that's it. I'm gonna go away for a while. I'm gonna come back at the end of the night and I'm gonna see how everything looks in terms of those, I think 4 products. The eyebrow pencil is fine, but definitely the complexion product and this blush. So I'll see you guys shortly. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the end of the night. I have a couple of thoughts on things. I did end up doing a lot of cleaning. I was cleaning the garage after the storm. We had moved everything in there to protect it from like, you know, the high winds. And so we were just moving everything out and there was just a giant mess. I was outside, I was sweating into my brows. So I have some updates on things. The first thing I want to talk about is the powder. I actually think the powder is really good. I remember not really loving this. I don't think it's overly waterproof, but I think it's a good setting product. I don't think my feelings about this concealer has changed since I did my initial review and 8-hour wear test on this. It creases just a little bit, and even though it looks much better with one layer, it's still not like a super perfecting concealer. And it's super light coverage. Like I can see my under eyes quite a bit, and then when you build it up, it looks terrible because I did build it up. The foundation, I'm loving this. It looks so much better with 1.5 drops, but super nice with this. So this definitely gets to stay. This definitely gets to stay. This is gonna stay because I've only worn it twice, and this still has to go into a speed reviews video, but I'm not overly impressed with it. This, even though I really, really love this, and this is definitely gonna stay, it was starting to transfer on me on my under eyes just because I was sweating, so this does definitely transfer. Blush in the pearlized finish, looking so much better. Like this one is just, you know, it's gotta be that some of these are drier than others, and this one just isn't dry, whereas the matte one is really kind of dried out. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. I actually really like the way this looks. The highlighter though, the Haus Labs one, I'm kind of sad to let it go. It is too deep, but it's so pretty for like a gold. But like I have gold and I really don't have that much room in my highlighter drawer, and I just don't see myself reaching for this one over other ones. The final thing is the brow product. I've totally decided to hold on to this. I actually think it held up really, really well with all of my sweating. So this is everything that ended up making it that I really enjoyed, that I found a love for. And here is everything that didn't. So I told you guys where these are gonna end up going, but they are going to get decluttered out of my permanent collection. I hope you enjoyed today's video, you guys. I'm out of here and hope to catch y'all in my next one. Bye.